Hello, good evening. Magino Mandirigma. I'd like to recommend a book that I've been reading for a day, probably. Really reading it quite a bit. It's Arnis, The Story of the Filipino People by Rio Zablan. It's a book recommendation that I want to share with you guys. If ever you want to avail, also you can contact me at Magino Mandirigma at Facebook. And here's just the story. This book was one of the cool documents that you will encounter in the history of Arnis. When it comes to the culture and history, when it comes to the origins of our practices from Europe, and it was integrated by the transfer of the Spaniards. Since we became a colony, we were invaded. But we were given skills also to the defense. Since we became Christians here in the Philippines, Catholic Christians, we established a lot of fort that defended the country. Because at that time, many fort was developed to defend the other tribes, because due to a lot of practices during before the Spanish time, there's a lot of slave trades going on. So usually they done that for trade and for marriage actually before. So you can learn a lot of this book in the Arnis, Story of the Filipino People, because it's part of our history. This is the well detailed book. It has a lot of what you call this, the location of the different forts, a lot of footnotes of the origins of our techniques from the Spaniards to us, and it basically mixed with our culture and arts. So it became more of a mixed kind of martial art. So most of the techniques from Arnis is Spanish. So, but a lot of the empty hands were from the Orientals here. So it's the what you call it, I think by my own observation, for 15 years of practice of Arnis, I think it's a lot of the Chinese influence. So it derives from there, because there's a lot of circular motions when it comes to that, and a lot of the Muslim brothers that practices silat also, they say it's origins from China. That's why they call it kuntao. But when it comes to eskrima, it's mostly from the West, and it has a lot of significant value when it comes to Filipino, because it is highly documented, and even in the Spanish time they documented a lot of its origins and local papers. That's why I'm promoting this book. You can buy it in the Magno Mandirigma. It's by Rio Zablan. It's a cool author, and this is the first book that I encountered such well-detailed explanation of the origins of Arnis, and it's one of the best explanation I got, because all of the footnotes are here from our local and international authors when it comes to the pre-colonial colonial era of the Philippines. So it's a good way to read. It's a short book. It's this thick, but it holds a lot of values and culture that you can understand from the Filipino people, especially our different cultures. All right. So feel free to visit here. I'm just gonna post it here on the page Magino Mandirigma, so that you can have a context, not just to learn the fighting art, but to understand the culture and our history. See you soon, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Maestro Jaime Paterno Blas.